So, in the beginning, right, I was asking the organizers what topic they want. So, I think they say they want to know how to use the Buddha's teachings into their daily life, right? So, I say the first thing is that you have to have an understanding of yourself. So, do we have an understanding of ourselves? Do you know yourself?
That we know what our brain wants or what our heart wants.
Yeah. I know, that's why. Because it's different, that's why we need to know. So just like Evers was saying right earlier on, it says only when we are working together do we know what we want and what others want and how we can integrate to make it what we all want. Yeah? So it is through interaction. It is through doing activities that we learn about ourselves and others. So it is when we are working together that we know, oh, I have limitations. Yeah? So someone is better at this than I am. And then when we work together, then you can see how patient you are, or how tolerant you are, right? So this is all from working together. You will never find out about yourself if you live on your own, right? Because you are the king of your castle, right? So you're not going to have a fight with anybody, see? So that's why it is in a community that where we can learn, that we can grow. So we want to explore with you, right? First of all, we're talking about self and others. But before we go to others, I want to start with the self.
Click. Scroll.
Let's go. Nothing happened.
Right click.
Left click.
Am I facing? Okay. So this relationship with ourselves is that actually we think we have a self, right? Because we eat, we walk. So there is something that's walking, isn't it? Alright? So we're doing some action. So we think, oh yeah, there is a self because look at me, I'm talking, right? But if you really think about, in our life, we eat, we drink, we walk, we work and all that, is there really a self that walks? Or is there really a self that eats? Because the action of the walking is the self. There is no difference between the subject and the object. It is together. There is no difference. So if you read at that, to study the Buddhist way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be verified by all things. To be verified by all things is to let the body and mind of the self and the body and mind of others drop off. And then it goes on some more. But today, because we're only doing the self and others, so I'll stop here. This is a quote from a Zen master, Master Jianzi, from the Genko Koan. So this is Zen Buddhism, but he actually has come out with another way of meditation. It's called Zazen. Zazen means, in Japanese, it means just sit. Just sit, right? So it's not that different from what we're doing, right? But we can't, in the beginning, you know how when we do meditation, we said, follow your breath, right? Count your breath. But after a while, we don't need to do the counting anymore. Is that true? Then we don't need to, actually to visualize the breath. We just sit, yeah? And then when we just sit, we have a lot of thoughts, true? Well, the thoughts will come and will go. And then what we say is, don't worry. Don't think about the thoughts. Just let go. True? This is the letting go. Now, let us go through one at a time. So, what is the self? We say there is no such thing as a separate self, isn't it? Right? Because the self is come together by many what? Factors, cause and conditions. So we, as a body, is made up of the 4 great elements. Yeah? So it comes together to form this unit of being. I mean, we might as well be like a cup. So we are, look at the cup. What do you need to make a cup? Water. You need the clay, which comes from the earth. So do we have parts of the element of earth in us? Yes. What is it? Our bones, our hair. And even if I shave my hair, it still grows. Yeah? So even I shave the hair, it still grows. And nails, all that comes from elements of the earth. So we are no different from all other things in this world. So that's why we said, you know, that we are not separate from others. Right? Other people and us, we are connected. So they said to forget the self is to be verified by all things. So it means to say that everything comes about because of the formation, about good cause and conditions. Right? If to verify by all things means that all things are the same. That we are, everything is just as it is. Suchness. Tandagatha we have. Suchness. So that means everything is suchness. To be verified by all things. Everything is the same. Suchness. Then it says that to be verified by all things is to let the body and the mind of the self and the body and mind of others drop off. What do you mean drop off? See, maybe in Japanese it's got a different language. You know, drop off means what? To let go. Let go, let go. So let go of what? Our thoughts. Let go. So when we're sitting in meditation, we let go of thoughts. Yeah? When we are mindful, we let go. We live in the here and now. Right? The present, here and now. So the here and now, then you're not thinking about the past or the future. Right? So this is what it means. So that we can have a flexible mind. So we don't have attachments to the self. We don't have attachments to what we want. Right? So if we can live like that, then we will be very carefree, liberated, and happy. Right? So this is the quote I like to start with. And now we come to examine. Okay. So we come to examine, you know, what we call the self. Where is the self? The self is actually in the workings of our mind. We think we have a self. Right? So it says here, self is connected with all beings. Right? To understand others, we have to first understand ourselves, and we have to understand the workings of our mind, how our mind works, how we interact with others. When I see something, how do I determine whether I like it or not? What is happening in our consciousness? Okay? I don't know. Have you all done this in your Buddhist study at all? Huh, Herman? Because you are the long-term Buddhist. Huh? Have you all done this in your study?
What the consciousness?
Yeah.
I don't think there's a proper, like... Yeah.
Okay, not a proper lesson.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. So, because we will have a role play later on, so we'll see how much time we need. So we might go over a bit, an hour and a half, an hour and a quarter. And then we have the role play, and then we have the results. Okay, so that we can see and discuss at the end how our mind works. Okay, so this is some practical experience for you. Even though we know it, right? But you don't actually see it very clearly until you all do the role play. Okay? So, this is the workings of our mind. See the three person? Three beings interacting. Right? So, the connection that as human beings, as creatures of this world, we cannot be alone. We are always interacting with people. We are always interacting with nature, even though we don't know it, but it's there. Okay, we're talking about the 5 skandhas or the 5 everydays. Yeah. So the first one is form, right? So what is form? Form is all physical objects, right? Including, we can notice the form, right? The shape, the color, the smell, the taste, the sound. So when we hear music, that's form. Huh? So when I see you, Herman, sitting there, that's a form, you know? Feelings, that's the second one. Feelings can be pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, right? So we have pleasant feelings, we like it. When we have unpleasant feelings, we don't like it. When it's neutral, means what? Indifferent, right? You don't really care. Yeah? Perception. What is perception? When we see something, we have a certain perception. And then we sometimes name it. Conceptualizing means we start to put things together to have a thought. Yeah? So that is perception. Actually, if you look at all these 5 skandhas, the most problematic one is our perception. That's the most problematic one. Okay, don't worry, I can give you the slides, okay? So you don't have to take the notes. So I just want you to listen, yeah? The mental formations. So formation is that when things come together, it becomes a form, isn't it? Yeah, but mental formation is also the same thing. When all these things comes together, it becomes an object, you know? So that's the object, is the object of our mind, right? So normally, object of the mind, there are many. There are about 51 objects of our mind. So anything, right? When I'm happy, that's an object of my mind because I'm in the mood of happiness, isn't it? If I'm angry, that is also object of the mind. Then our body is also like the physical part, right? Object of the mind. Yeah. If I am thinking about somebody, that is object of my mind, right? So if I'm thinking about the lesson now, that's the object of my mind, all right? So actually, object and subject is one thing. They are connected. They are together. So you can imagine if we spend all day being angry, do you know what it's doing to our body? It's damaging, isn't it? So that's why people have sickness. You have headaches, have migraine, have ulcer, yeah? Because they are very stressed, very angry, or whatever. So this is why we need to understand and know how to deal with it, right? How to get rid of it, how to change. So we are not ruled by our mental formations, by that object of our mind. Then the consciousness. So out of the 5 skandha, first one is form, feelings, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. So in this consciousness, we're talking about the individual consciousness and the collective consciousness. So it's the base of everything. So meaning that, you know, we will go into it later, that we all have an individual, like karma, all right? We have individual karma and collective karma, isn't it? What is individual karma? For example?
When you have an accident, something like that. Yeah. That's my individual karma. Or maybe when I'm sick, that's my individual karma.
Yep. Okay?
Yeah.
And the way you look, that's your individual karma. Because, isn't it? Because that, if you have a very cultivated, a good cultivation, right? Well, you look very handsome, very tall, very, yeah? And then if you don't have a good cultivation, then maybe you don't look as handsome or pretty. Isn't it? So that is individual karma. Collective karma, this is collective karma. Alright? So we all we are all from Australia. Okay, this is collective karma. We're all planets, we are all living beings living on this earth. That's collective karma. Okay? Yeah, so individual karma is like what it says, you know. I have an accident, okay, everyone is dead. I mean,
Yeah.
but I'm alive. Wow, that is my good karma. See, that's my individual karma. See? So that's different. You know, everyone's different. So consciousness is like that too. Now, what is consciousness? Consciousness are thoughts. That's energy, you know. So all thoughts are energy. And a consciousness, you know, we are in a constant stream of flux. Everything is constantly changing, isn't it? Now when things change, our consciousness responds to that. So that's consciousness, it's energy.